Well, hello everybody. I'll give it a minute to let people log on. Following my video yesterday and Justin Trudeau's clip that I played for everybody, big news global here, just breaking less than an hour ago, and they go back into that video, plus a follow-up video interview with Zhao from China. He's the Foreign Relations Ministry of China, right underneath Xi Jinping. So Trudeau goes off and he starts going on another interview just today, a follow-up. And I'm going to tell you, everybody, I'm an economist, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to put this all together. There's no doubt throughout the Commonwealth we have nothing but trade deficits, or we're completely cut out of entire markets. Canadians, dear Canadians, in the Commonwealth, we are losers. Canada is an ultimate trade loser beyond all measure. Any goods, serious tertiary goods like meat, seeds, grains, cereal, you don't get any advantage in the Commonwealth, none whatsoever. To put it in perspective, lying Justin Trudeau, just the consequences, Canadians, the consequences of this child, this high school would-be teacher who couldn't even teach kindergarten. He was an elementary teacher. He couldn't handle it for more than 2 years. He says, oh, we're going to pursue India. We have to move away from China, which we do have an incredible trade deficit. Incredible. But how much worse is India? Per person per capita, which again, we have no access to India. None whatsoever. We're locked out. Why are we locked out? Look to the UK. They are 1% of our trade. $186 million trade deficit. Per person per capita, it's 3 times that of China currently. And that's where Trudeau wants to take us to a place where we have no value in supply chains. Now, Canadians, I know you're smart. Right now, vaccines are top in the news. It's top news, vaccines. How do vaccines get out there? Who made them? How do they get here? Well, that's the P5. You will look, all 5 P5 nations. There's a couple more, but the reality is the UNSC P5 created together uniformly all brands of the vaccines, marketed them worldwide. Russia has a monumental amount for Sputnik. He has a huge amount of this world. UK has a large percentage of the Commonwealth. USA has a bulk of all world orders. France just completed theirs too. They're all there. They all control them, just like the value and supply chains entirely across this globe. Canada has all kinds of shipping companies. I could go do a live from Mississauga, Ontario, go get a dock pass, go as a welder, get a dock pass for all of you, run up and down and show you all the shipping companies Canada has, and then you get to see the monolith shipping companies where those containers are loaded on with your manufactured goods. You will find predominantly that's China, USA, there's a little bit of UK, there's some of France, and that's the way it works. There's nothing else. Paul Martin shipping is a joke. All made in China, by the way. Liberal corruption. But the reality is, bulk shipping across this ocean and massive trade are the value and supply chains run by all 5 of the powers. They have them locked and loaded. That's it. smart countries who also sit on the United Nations Security Council. We can look at a much smaller country where my last name comes from, Norway. They have their own value and supply chains. In fact, they destroy Canada when it comes to the UK on oil. Did you know that, Canadians? Did you know that all oil shipped to UK is predominantly served by Norway, from Norway, through Norway shipping? Did you know we can't get to our Arctic science installations without Norway, USA, or China, or Russia? Did you know that? Even Finland can do it. We can't even do it for ourselves, Canadians. Justin Trudeau tells you all clearly in a big argument as Zhao slaps the hammer down on Canada and says, careful where you go, there are consequences to your actions, because China will only do what benefits China, and if Canada doesn't benefit China, China will punish Canada, which means all of our goods being imported will go up in price. They already do. You pay much more for Chinese goods from USA because those products built in China, made in China, flip it over, that you had shipped here through USA, you pay 3 times as much. Prices go up. China can make that even worse. Even worse. We don't manufacture anymore. Our big companies from Canada, all liberal and conservative insiders, flew off to the third world, the second world China, third world India, to manufacture most of the products you have today. Made in Taiwan is now made in China. Hong Kong does not belong to the UK. Trudeau bitching about China is no longer the China of 5-10 years ago. Yes, Trudeau, that's correct, because Hong Kong is no longer the UK's. It never was. There was an opium war where UK's royal family of the time, under Queen Victoria, tried to eradicate the Chinese people through opium production in poppy fields in India, in the India Trading Company, when UK ran India, which still largely runs India in a large way through the Crown. We trade only 1% to India. Hardly anything, Canadians, at a whopping massive trade deficit. 5 times the size of China. And Trudeau wants to go there. He wants to replace India with China. Can you spell bankruptcy, Canadians? Canadian manufacturers remaining. Can you spell bankruptcy when your supply and value chains no longer include China? Explain to all of your customers, explain why they can't get their goods at the rate they were getting, and all of a sudden from $2,000 to $3,000 for a shipping container, it's about $8,000, and their products are no longer sellable in those trade, supply, and value chains. This is reality. This is real economics. You can choose to share it. You can put your head in the sand and say, oh no, it's all about the government. They know what they're doing. Who cares that our federal and provincial deficits grow astronomically? We're printing money more and more. Trudeau says, don't worry. I've secured long-term financing with the Bank of England. We'll be paid on the interest forevermore as interest rates continually rise over this coming year. Canada, we're in bad shape. Canadians, you're in bad shape. Most people will just go, like historically around the world, that citizenry that can't be bothered, that puts their head in the sand when they know things aren't getting easier. It'll get better, or we'll elect somebody else, but nobody else comes along. We get browbeat, bent over, and raped over the coals. We have not met the IMO. We don't have deep ports. We don't have large shipping, and we don't have a military to protect our value and supply chains. Look to Sweden and Norway. You can say whatever about their taxation system, their heavy-handed socialism, but they have the value and supply chains. They're doing much better than Canada is. We are losing because we have loser politicians in a crown-style system, in a commonwealth that gives the power to another nation over us internationally, in law and in trade. Things aren't going to get better. They're going to get much, much worse. Hong Kong is never coming back. It belongs to China. It was a city stolen by the British Empire, situated in the middle of historical China, which has not expanded its borders, ladies and gentlemen. Regardless of how you feel about that governing system, they don't go around taking what's not theirs, usurping other countries. If your country is corrupt enough and stupid enough to get into loan systems with China, you need constitutionalism. You need accountability. You need to have politicians like Stephen Harper, Paul Martin, Justin Trudeau, Aaron O'Toole, Jagmeet Singh, and many others strung up and put in prison for the crimes they've committed against the citizens of this country and the First Peoples. That's reality. We don't have none whatsoever, accountability. That requires real constitutionalism. And there is nobody promising you that in this federal system we live in. Nobody. They want the crown for themselves. They want to rape and exploit you. There's only so much of Canada that remains that they can borrow against before the buck stops. And you could compare us to any of the 50 states of the United States of America. We were nowhere near the debts and deficits per person per capita. Nowhere near on the state level versus provinces and territories, including the federal. Not even nowhere near. Not by an astronomical mile. And when you add up all of the federal deficit and debts of the U.S. government, it equals absolutely their international holdings, and all foreign debts means they have a balanced budget. This is not the same for Canada and many other corrupt countries of the Commonwealth. Canada, your trillions of dollars of resources will run out. The land and the debts will come due. You will have to pay, and that will require you giving up everything your children have in the entirety of the future. Look at what we trade with China. Number one resource, ladies and gentlemen. You trade a mass amount of agriculture, seeds, fruit, wheat. It goes on and on. Oil, minerals, and those products are way down at number 6. Still respectable, but it's a heck of a lot better than how we do with India, a much larger populated country, a Commonwealth country, yet we have zero access to any of our goods. We loan, we strengthen the Bank of India through, again, the Bank of England. That's what we do. And it's all immigration. All immigration, mass immigration. India, number one source of immigration from the Commonwealth. It was Hong Kong for a time being. That's over. Hong Kong no longer belongs to the UK. They stole it. It was wrong. It was done through a massive atrocity that has led to the opium epidemic we all experience worldwide. That comes from none other than the royal family. Do some reading. Read your value and supply chains. Who holds them? Just like the vaccines, it's the UNSCP5 and other strong nations of the world. And that doesn't necessarily mean the size of your nation, but the results of a country that has a constitution that protects the people thereof, putting them first. This is not Canada. It's never going to be Canada as long as we allow filthy, corrupt politicians to continue on, same old, same old. You all have the power to make the change. That comes from the party we're bringing forward, PCC, Party of the Canadian Constitutionalists. It's the only one of its kind. It's the only way to fix Canada. You decide, but the buck stops here. It's coming to an end. And China can destroy Canada economically. And USA will pick up the pieces. No problem. You will pay, Canadians. You will pay, and you will pay dearly. And it will still be made in China. That's reality. Laugh out loud at that. That's my video. Share if you're not a fool. Bye now.